Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. You know the drill. We're back at it again with the r/entitledpeople Reddit stories. So let's just jump into it, shall we? Woman road rages against me and gets arrested during Christmas. This happened in early December last year. I'm driving home from school one afternoon and I accidentally cut off a lady in a big ass Suburban. I quickly got back into my original lane and waved an apology after she honked at me. I was a bit tired, so I missed her in my blind spot. I thought that would be the end of it, but boy was I wrong. My one careless move triggered a series of road rage incidents from her that I never thought anyone would be capable of resorting to. First, this woman speeds around me and aggressively cuts me off and brake checks me very hard. Mind you, the speed limit was 45 miles per hour and I was already doing 50. She had to be passing me at no less than 70. I gave her some room in case she brake checks me again, which she did, bringing our whole lane down to 15 miles per hour, all while flipping me off outside her window. I have a dash cam, so even if I hit her, I would have taken the insurance payout, but dealing with insurance is too much of a hassle, and I love my car, so I didn't want to damage it. Other cars start passing us, so I try to do the same, but she dives in front of me again. Eventually, she lets me pass, and I wave her sorry again, which she responds to with the finger. Finally, we stop at a red light, and she pulls alongside me, yelling at me to roll down your window, you N-word. I'm not even black. Of course I don't, just in case she pulls something out on me. Other cars are honking at her for blocking my adjacent lane while she yells at me, but she gives zero shits. Once the light turns green, I make a loop around the block to try and lose her, but to no avail. I even haul ass down an open road to see if she gives up. My car is heavily modded, so it can comfortably smoke her SUV, but she persists. I'm thinking, what kind of person has this much time on a weekday to follow someone around? Had I driven home, she could have come back later and did God knows what. So finally, I resort to calling the cops. Unfortunately, I'm right at the boundary of 3 counties, so I get bounced around dispatchers for about 5 minutes before finally ending up with the right jurisdiction. I explain my situation, and the dispatcher directs me to drive toward the nearest police precinct while an officer tries to intercept us. During the conversation with the dispatcher, she's still flipping me off, and the dispatcher can hear her honking. That's how close she was tailgating me. It's been over 30 minutes since the original incident. Seriously, who the has this much time? I stay calm and continue to relay to the dispatcher where I am as I pass intersections. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I saw a Dodge Charger speeding up behind us. I couldn't tell if it was a patrol car, as it appeared to be an undercover vehicle. No blues and reds yet, so I confirmed with the dispatcher if there was an officer behind us. It was! Once I saw the lights come on, I pulled over, and she promptly followed. As I parked in some church lot, this fat ass dove out of her car, and only then she notices the Christmas tree of lights behind us. The look on her face was priceless, and what does this dumbass do? She darts towards the officer's car. The officer quickly commanded her to stop, which this bag of meat seemed to understand. Not long after, his corporal and another officer arrived. Now, I'm still sitting in my car waiting for the officer to come to me, and I hear the making up some bullshit story, and in a few minutes, he comes up to my window to hear my side. The moment I stepped out of my car to talk to him, she yells at me, "You suck at driving." This was retaliated by the officer yelling at the woman. I told him my side and about all the brake checking and racial slurs, and she obviously denied it. The instant when I mentioned that it was all on dash cam, her face went pale. The officer saw all the brake checks, excessive speed, and tailgating once I pulled up the footage on my phone, and he then asked me if I wanted to press charges. Of course I did. They searched her SUV and found an unregistered Glock underneath the driver's seat and a tiny bag of weed, which isn't legal in my state. This woman got arrested for reckless driving, endangerment, possession of marijuana, and a couple of other things. I was just told to drive carefully with no ticket. Update: Regarding the gun registration, I misinterpreted it. In Georgia, we only need a firearms license. I guess that's what she was lacking, which made the Glock illegal with her. I'm not a gun owner, so I'm very unfamiliar with those laws. Sorry for any confusion there. Man, it takes some special kind of stupid to do something that attracts police while having all that going on in your car. You know what they say, when one is committing a felony, one should not commit misdemeanors to attract attention to said felony, or something like that. Anyway, the rule of thumb is to only commit one crime at a time. She would be arrested today, but in 1971, I deserved this petty revenge. I was a little shit to my 6th grade teacher in Catholic school. It was her first year teaching, and I pushed her limits every day. It was not my proudest year in school. On the last day of school, I squirted her with the squirt gun. Her eyes turned to violence. She grabbed me by the back of the neck, and she hissed, "Come with me." She marched me out of the classroom and down the hall. I was terrified, thinking I was going to be taken to the principal's office, an old nun we all feared and called the Goose. She marched me right up to a drinking fountain, forced my head into it, and turned on the water. She held my head there, soaking my hair thoroughly, then marched me back to class by the neck, still dripping. When she brought me into the classroom, my fellow students all laughed at me. I deserved it. I love this point of view. Good on you, OP, for admitting your faults. If I were that teacher though, I'd have given OP a swirly. Nurse Stiff's DoorDash driver gets arrested. This occurred in September last year. I was making a routine lunch delivery to the hospital nearby. The customer didn't provide any delivery instructions other than to call when I arrived. I called and called. No reply. Waited and waited. In this instance, we leave the food in a safe place. In this case, at the admissions desk, and notify the customer. About 5 minutes later, I started getting furious texts from this person. "Where's my food? I told you where to bring it, you goddamn moron, not to leave it there. This is all your fault. You're a idiot." I apologized profusely despite her incessant lies that she said where to leave it, and her swearing at me. 5 minutes go by and I get notified that she claims she never received the food and left a negative rating. So I contacted support to address the rating, and since I was nearby, returned to the delivery location to find out what happened to the order. When I arrive, the admissions desk personnel tell me this individual came down in a huff and took the food, and it's on camera. DoorDash is on with the customer, who is texting that someone stole it, and she refuses to pay for it. I knew that the order name was Russian and unusual. DoorDash says if I can verify it was received, they will remove the rating. Admissions people notify an admin to come talk to me. The admin contacts hospital security, who speaks to me, then decides to go ask the nurse to pay for the order. They talked to her, she refused. They said that they might be forced to notify the police, and she said, "Go ahead." To hospital security. Anywho, the police are contacted. I file a brief statement for theft of services, and a female detective reached out to me a few weeks later. I say, "Do you really think it's worth pursuing such a small amount?" And she reminded me of her vindictive texts, and how she was offered multiple opportunities to avoid charges, and she refused. She literally came after me, hard. My mind was instantly made up. The detective said she would go to her house first, but if she wasn't home, she'd arrest her at the hospital. It was misdemeanor fraud and something else. Then months went by, heard nothing back. Then got an email from the court on Tuesday asking for my address and where to send the check for restitution. And she pled guilty. Firstly, I love that both of these OPs pressed charges. Nothing irks me more when people don't press charges. Always press charges, okay? Even when it's something as small as this. Because even though something like this instance may seem dumb and not worth it, it is worth it. Because the more that these entitled people get away with, the more they're just going to keep doing it. And I know that in this circumstance, it's about more than a few dollars. DoorDash delivery is this person's job, and drivers can be banned from bad ratings. So when your job and character is on the line over someone lying, I totally agree with going through petty charges like this. But anyway, that is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed these entitled people petty revenge stories and some good old-fashioned justice. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!